In this video, we'll provide an overview of the calendar view within your management system. So when you log in, click the calendar icon to come to the calendar view. What you're looking at here is a holistic view of your entire business and everything that's coming up for the month. This includes your booked events, your pending events, prospects, meetings and appointments, tasks and reminders, even time off and blackout dates. So before we dive into the specifics, I want to scroll down and walk through the legend because this is important. This first column here is going to show you a list of all your event types and the color that you've assigned to each of those events. So for example, wedding, we've assigned the color purple. So when we look at our calendar, we see this event here with a purple background. We immediately know that that's a wedding. There's a link here to go to that event type configuration page where you can add and remove event types, as well as select your desired color for each event type. Moving over, you're going to see here where we define the borders of each event on the calendar. If it's light gray, that means it's a prospect. If it's dashed, that means it's pending, usually means you're waiting for a contract or a deposit payment. If it's a solid black border, that means it's a booked event. If it's a blue border, that means it's a meeting or an appointment. If it's a green border, that means it's a task or a reminder. And finally, if it's a red border, that means time off either for you or for one of your staff members. And finally, in the third column here, these are the background colors for each day on the calendar. If it's white, that means it's an available date. If it's this yellowish color, that means it's today. If it's a dark gray background with diagonal slats, that means it's a specific date that you have blacked out on the calendar. That usually means that you already have booking for that date or you have a prior engagement to where you're unable to take a booking on that date. And then finally down here, this light gray background with slats running through it, that means it's a broader period that you have blacked out, a day, a month, or a year. And here on our sample calendar, you'll see we've blacked out Monday through Thursday just for demonstration purposes to show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and scroll up and take a look at the calendar itself. The first thing that we want to point out is the default view is for the month, but you can also toggle into week view as well as day view. And when you move into these different modes, the information reporting here in the calendar gets more specific. We're able to show you exactly the times that those events are occurring, whereas when you're in the month view, you're only able to see that there is an event and the time that it starts. In the bottom left corner, you can jump forward or back in terms of years. And then in the top left corner, you can jump forward or back depending on what mode you're in. So if we're in the month mode, this will actually move forward and back by month. If we were in the week mode or the day mode, that would move forward and back accordingly. To the top right here, we have a number of functions available. We'll walk through them. The first one here is the ability to filter by event status. So this is where we can just look at specific statuses on events. For example, if we wanted to look at all of our booked events, or for example, we wanted to look at any prospects that we might have on our calendar. This is where we can filter specifically by that. Immediately to the right of that, you can filter by event type. And again, this matches our list in the bottom left corner, all the event types that we've defined in the system. So if we wanted to see just our weddings, we could do that and filter by that. Moving to the right of that, we can now filter by specific staff member. So if we choose a staff member here, that will allow us to see any and all events that are assigned to that specific staff member. So this is a great resource if you want to look at a specific staff member's calendar, or if you want to know if they're available or not for a specific date, you can come in here and run that filter. Moving to the right here is our blackout date configuration. So when we go into this, you're going to notice here we have various options. I'm going to move from the bottom up. First, we can black out entire years. You can black out months. For example, if you don't take events in the month of January for some reason. You can black out days of the week. If you always have a bar gig on a Thursday night, you can just automatically black out every Thursday night. And then finally, all the way up here at the top, this is where you get real specific. This is where you can black out either a single day or a date range. You know, if you were off on vacation for a week or out of town for a weekend, you could put in that date range here, and that will add that. Moving to the right again, this is our calendar sync. So everything that you're looking at here in the calendar can also be synced down to your device. So you can sync it to this device that you're running on if you have Outlook or Gmail. You can sync it with a Google Calendar on an Android device. You can send it to your iPhone and sync it with your iPhone. Virtually any type of device that will handle a subscription, what they call WebCal, will be able to sync with this. And again, what's interesting here is that everything that's on your calendar will then appear on your local device, including meetings and appointments, as well as tasks and reminders. And as always, you can do this for a specific staff member or for all of your staff. Now, this is looking at it from the administrator's view. So you, as the administrator of this account, can get granular here in terms of staff member. If a staff member of yours logs in, they will only be able to sync events and meetings and appointments that are assigned to them. They will not see everything for the entire company. So now let's move here to the right, and finally this is where you can add a new calendar entry. And you'll see here we have a variety of options. Of course, add new event or add new prospect. That would be the equivalent of going up here into your Events tab or your Prospects tab and adding a new event or an event prospect. Here is a shortcut to get to that blackout date, which we just saw here through a direct icon. And then here's the feature where you can add time off requests. So again, we're going to see this from the view of the company administrator, where we're going to see all of our staff members in a drop down here. So for us, we can choose a specific staff member, and then we can put in a date range that they're going to be unavailable to accept bookings. So for demonstration purposes, let's go ahead and put in this staff member on vacation for a week. So now you'll see here we have Chris Wagner off, and it spans the entire week, and it has that red border around it, which indicates to us that it's time off. Now, let's say Chris Wagner logs in with his own login. He can come in here and he can add time off, but he's not going to see this drop down with all the staff members. He's going to only see his own name there, so he can only add time off for him. Now, in either case, if he adds it, it will send an email to the company administrator letting them know that he has added time off. And likewise, if the company administrator adds it, it will send the staff member an email letting them know that the time off has been accepted and added to the calendar. So moving on through here a little bit further, you can add a meeting or an appointment. And we'll show you this, and I'll also show you one on the calendar that already exists. So you can put in a title for the meeting or the appointment. You can add a start and an end time, or if it's an all-day event, you can select that. Format here, you can choose whether this is in office, out of office, a phone call, or a video call. And where this becomes important is this will choose the icon that appears here in the calendar entry. So if we choose in office, it's going to show us a picture of an office building. If it's out of office, it's going to show us a little car. If it's phone, it'll show us a phone icon. And if it's a video call, it shows us this picture of a headset. This also then pertains to this next question. So if it's going to be in office or out of office, we can put in an address where that meeting is going to appear. And if it's a video call, this here then becomes a URL field where you can enter the URL for the Zoom or Google Meet or Teams meeting. Any notes that you want to put on this particular meeting in terms of what the subject content's going to be of that meeting, you can go ahead and do that here. And then here you can optionally associate an event with the meeting. So I'm going to actually pop out of this and go into an existing one here just to show you here. I have this meeting here scheduled for next week, and it's going to be a video call. We have the Zoom link in here, and this icon here will allow us to automatically launch Zoom. We have notes on that, and here you can see we've associated a particular event with this meeting. It's the Taylor and Sanders wedding reception. So when I put in my title and my description and my notes, I don't have to necessarily reference the event because I can do that here and associate a specific event. So when I come into my calendar entry here, I know that I'm going to be reviewing music, but I see here that I have, which event that's for. And then finally, you can optionally add in staff on a particular meeting or appointment. Now, when I do that, what'll happen is, in this case, I've selected Chris Wagner, Now when Chris Wagner logs in, and he's using his login, and he's only looking at his calendar with his events, he will now see this meeting on his calendar. It will also now sync down to his device because it's on his personal calendar. So when you're adding staff members, you're essentially adding this event, this meeting or appointment, to their calendar. So you can do that at any time. And associating an event is optional. This could also be an internal meeting that I want to have with all my staff members. In that case, I would not associate an event, but I could add all of my staff members, and I could put the title as mandatory staff meeting. And then finally up here in the upper corner, we have the trash can if we want to remove this from the calendar. And just to show you the other option, we have a prospective meeting here with a prospect, and because it's out of office with an address, the icon here, instead of launching Zoom, will instead launch Google Maps, and it will automatically give us those directions to that meeting. So those are meetings and appointments. And then finally here is the task/reminder, which is very similar to a meeting. The only difference being there's not going to be any information pertaining to an event or a location for the meeting. This is just, pick up lighting rental. And I can say I'm going to do that tomorrow at 7 a.m. And if I want this to appear on any staff member's calendar as well, I can do that here, or I don't have to. It'll just appear on my own. And now you'll see here on the calendar, we have pick up lighting. It's with a green border because it's a task, and it has that a little alarm clock just to denote that it's a task. So that's kind of the view. Now, one other thing I want to show you here quickly is what happens when you have multiple services assigned. So you'll see here, when I go back here, I have this particular wedding, because it's purple, has headphones. Headphones are the icon that we've assigned to the DJ service. So again, just glancing at the calendar, we now know that that's a wedding and it's for DJ services. But what happens when you have multiple services? Because you can't fit all those icons in there. So if we jump ahead here to this event, you'll see there's a circle with the number 3 in it. That's just indicating they have 3 services booked. And then when we click on that, we can then dive in and see photo booth, photography, and DJ are the 3 services that are assigned to that event. And that brings us to one final note, which is with any of these, all you have to do is to click on them to bring up the event or the prospect and to be able to edit that in real time. Likewise, if you want to create a new event, you can do that right from this screen here. So again, what you have here is really a very holistic view of your entire business all on one screen and everything that you have coming up for that particular month, week, or day, whether it be a booked event, a meeting and an appointment, or a task and reminder. And if your service plan allows it, this calendar is responsive for mobile devices. You can come in here and see a quick view of all those upcoming events and meetings. You click on them to load the event details and go back at any time. And again, you can look at that as a month view, a week view, or even a day view.